Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and today I'm doing another Reading New Book of the Month books. I have received 4 Book of the Month books in the last couple months that I need to get to reading so I can stay on top of my collection. If you're not familiar with Book of the Month, it is a monthly book subscription service where they curate 5 books for you to choose from every month, and then you pick one and they send it to you, and then you can also add on extra books if you want. Basically, it's just a really fun service to be sent brand new books for cheaper than you can get them in the stores, and oftentimes really popular and exciting titles that people like me are excited to read. And that is the case today. So like I mentioned, I've got 4 books here to read in this video. I would say 2 of them are probably really hyped books that everyone is excited about, and then 2 of them are books that I specifically am excited about. So let's start with the 2 most popular books. So the first one I picked is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This is a mystery thriller book. I'm not sure too much about it. I think it has to do with like dark academia, a professor, maybe some weird things happening with that. This author has one other book out. It was also a mystery thriller released last year, I believe, called The Silent Patient. I honestly felt mediocre about that book, but it went wild on the book internet last year. It was like the most popular thriller that was released, and it won a bunch of popularity awards and things like that. But this is his second book. And so I'm very interested to see if this gets the same reception that that first book did and what my thoughts are. Again, because I didn't love that first one, I'm going into this one a little bit cautious, but excited because it sounds like something that I haven't necessarily read before. So we will see how this one turns out for me. And then the other extremely popular book is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which I love the cover of this book a lot. I think it's beautiful. This is, from what I'm hearing, like a contemporary sci-fi type book that has to do with some time traveling or something, but also is a female-female romance. And that definitely intrigues me. This author wrote another very popular book last year called Red, White, and Royal Blue. Maybe that was 2 years ago. I don't even remember when that book came out, but that was a male-male romance about the Prince of England and the son of the first female president of the United States getting into a romance with each other. I read that book and I also felt mediocre about that one. So again, I'm curious to see what my thoughts are gonna be for this one because it is so popular, because that last one was so popular. I will say that the premise of this one sounds way more intriguing to me than the premise of Red, White, and Royal Blue. Politics, not my thing. Sci-fi, time travel stuff, definitely my thing. But then, like I said, the other 2 books are ones that I'm really excited about, even if the rest of the book internet isn't necessarily super excited about them. The first one is one that I had not heard of before it showed up on the Book of the Month options. It's called Imposter Syndrome by Kathy Wang. And from what I remember reading in the synopsis, it's like a feminist sci-fi about women in the tech industry or something like that, which just sounds so interesting to me. I have an engineering degree, and so I've kind of grown up in the STEM technology world, and I'm very into the whole, you know, women in STEM push and things like that. Imposter syndrome is something that I've definitely not only experienced but also like researched and done presentations on, and so it just really intrigues me that this book kind of centers around that world. And so I don't know details about the plot or what's actually going to happen, but I'm going into this one very excited to hopefully read about characters and situations that I can relate to, and I'm kind of excited that this is one that I haven't heard of before, so that if I do like it, I can recommend it and promote it. And then the last book that I have is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Andy Weir is the author of The Martian as well as Artemis, which are both science fiction books about space. I gave both of those 5 stars. I also love the movie adaptation of The Martian. This is his 3rd and newest release, also clearly about an astronaut, about space. If my sources are correct, apparently this has already been picked up for an adaptation, potentially starring Ryan Gosling, which I definitely like picturing him as the main character. But yeah, this was just kind of an auto buy for me because I loved the first 2 books so much, and this is so still within his wheelhouse. I expect for it to be another great space sci-fi book. So interestingly, we're a little bit sci-fi heavy in this vlog, but I have recently come to realize how much I love sci-fi books, which I've always known, but I think I need to lean into that more, and I think I need to pick more up. So right off the bat, if you have sci-fi recommendations, please let me know, because I think I'm gonna be putting more of a focus on that genre going forward. But I also wanted to give an update because I have actually started this book. So I am just over 100 pages in, and it's almost a 500-page book, so I'm still relatively close to the beginning, but But what I can say about it is a little bit more about the plot. It's about this man who wakes up in this spaceship basically, and he has no memory of his name or who he is or what he does or why he's on this spaceship, and he's completely alone. And so he has to figure out what's going on, and it goes off from there. I will say at the 100-page mark, I am loving it. Andy Weir's writing, if you've ever read a book by him before, it's very distinct, but it's super witty and funny, and I just love his writing style. He makes the science digestible, and again, funny, and so it's entertaining to read about. It's not just like blocks of text of these science principles that nobody knows what he's talking about. But also on the contrary, I've heard scientists say that the science in his books are actually good and like somewhat plausible even for fiction. So it's also fun reading the science parts knowing that they are, you know, as accurate as they can be for a fictional situation. So I'm really liking it. I'm already excited to get back to reading it as soon as I'm done filming this clip. It's reading really quickly. Again, for being a 500-page book, I was a little bit worried about how dense the writing would be and how long it would feel like it's taking to get through. But at this point, I don't want to be close to done. I just want to keep reading and reading. So that's a very good sign. That is my 20% update, and I will be back when I am a little bit further along. We'll see when I feel like I have some thoughts to share, and then the rest of this video, of course, will just be me reading the other 3 books and letting you know my thoughts on those as well. To be completely honest and transparent, I have no idea how long this video is going to take. Today is June 8th, to put a timestamp. I am scheduled to have a C-section for my baby on June 10th, so in just a couple days I will have a newborn baby, which will obviously rock my world a lot. It'll take away from reading time, it'll take away from filming time, and so I'm fully prepared for this video to take me a month to finish, especially because these books are not short, but I knew I had to start it now or else who knows when I would get around to it. So with that, I'm going to get back to reading Project Hail Mary, and I will just talk to you when I have something to talk to you about. All right, I've got a pretty major update for you guys. It's been a while since I have filmed. Obviously, it has been no time at all for you, so you have no idea how much time has passed, but it's been about a week. I'm sure I've put in some footage, but I had a baby, and so I haven't been doing much else other than taking care of said baby and trying to take care of myself. But I have had some time for reading, and so I have some pretty major reading updates. First is that I finished Project Hail Mary. So let's talk about it. So I don't want to say too much about the plot because I went in not really knowing anything, and I think that was a huge benefit to me and really contributed to me enjoying it so much. So plot-wise, not really gonna talk about it. But what I liked about this book, what I can say, is it's classic Andy Weir in terms of his mix of science and humor. If you've read either of his previous 2 books, you know what I'm talking about. And this book is exactly the same. It has funny parts where you feel like laughing. It's witty even in these situations where like the main character is in a completely dire, helpless situation. They're still making jokes. So it was super enjoyable to read about. And the story itself, if I had known what it was about before going in, I don't think I would have expected to like it. And so I'm really glad I didn't know, because it ended up surprising me because it was done in a different way than I would have thought it would be done. I know that's vague, but I just say that to say pick this up if you're interested in science fiction, if you've liked Andy Weir in the past. But other than that, it's just really fun to read the story as it unfolds and to find things out along with the main character. And then I'll also just say, for the people who maybe have read it, I loved the ending. I'm really excited to see people start talking about this book and for there to be like book club discussions and things that I can join in on. My only critique, if I can give it one, is that it's pretty darn long, and it does feel that long. Again, I was enjoying the reading experience, so I was okay with it feeling long, but if you don't mesh with his writing style and you don't like you know, the science being explained, I can definitely see how this could get long to you. But if you do like that and if you are into the story, it is worth it. So 5 stars. I'm so excited, so happy that I read it and I loved it. And Andy Weir has 3 5-star books for me, so I think that classifies him as a favorite author, which is kind of cool. And then the major update actually continues because I also finished One Last Stop, and I ended up reading this as part of Romanceathon. So I'm actually not going to go too deep into my thoughts here. You can go back and watch my Romanceathon vlog if you want to see more in-depth thoughts about this book. But long story short, it is a female-female romance, contemporary with a little bit of science fiction, and I would actually say a little bit of mystery thrown in, and I gave it 4 stars. I loved the characters, I loved the main characters and the side characters, and I enjoyed the solving of the mystery. So again, you can go watch the vlog if you want more in-depth thoughts, but pretty cool that I've got a 5-star and a 4-star to start off this video. This is definitely what I've been wanting from Book of the Month books, is to love them. So I'm happy that the first 2 books here that I've read, I really enjoyed so much. So my plan from here, I am going to start Imposter Syndrome. This is the one that I know the least about, that I've heard the least about, and that I'm the most curious and sort of nervous to see if I'm going to enjoy it, because it is so unhyped. Basically a science fiction, I believe, about women who are in the tech industry, and I think it has something to do with Russian spies. I really hope I love this one. It's pretty short, so I should be able to read through it pretty quickly. So that's where I'm at. I am going to go ahead and get started on this book, and I will be back with an update and hopefully be going 3 for 3 on books for this video that I love. Hey guys, me and the babe are here ready to give another update because I've actually finished Imposter Syndrome. And I was actually not planning on finishing the whole book before giving an update. I was planning on coming and giving like a midway update. To be honest, I was kind of waiting to get to a point with this book where I felt like I really got it, like grasped it, and was able to form some thoughts and accurately describe the book before I came on and gave an update. But that never happened. This book was honestly a really weird reading experience. I'll try to describe the plot a little bit. So we're mainly following 2 main characters. One is a woman named Julia and the other is a woman named Alice. And they both work for the same tech company in Silicon Valley. And one of the women is a Russian spy. And we know that from the very beginning. The story actually starts with like her origin story of how she was selected to be a spy and kind of got to the place that she is now. And then the other woman is kind of starting to feel like something is fishy with the first woman, and investigating that. There were a few things I struggled with when it came to this book. So the first was who I was supposed to root for. Like I said, one main character was the spy and one was the person kind of trying to figure out the spy, and I wasn't sure which one of them I was supposed to be backing and which one I wanted to, you know, succeed. Did I want the spy to go on with her spy stuff, or did I want the spy to get caught? I didn't really feel like either side was very compelling, so I ended up not really caring about either side. And then I was also confused specifically about the spy's story, Julia, because it was kind of hard for me to know, like, what was she doing for her day job? What was she doing that was like spy responsibilities? What was she doing that was like her own choice versus what she was told to do? It just wasn't very clearly explained like what her objectives were and her priorities and really where her head was at, because we were kind of being told or kind of shown that she might be like questioning her path and her loyalty. I don't know, I was just very confused. Like, what was I supposed to be getting out of this? What did these characters want, and what was I supposed to want for the characters? And just didn't get any of that. So at the end of the day, this honestly just ended up being a boring and confusing book. And on top of these two main characters' perspectives, we also get like random chapters from a whole bunch of other characters that weren't like recurring, but it was kind of like one-off chapters, if that makes sense. Those were confusing. I didn't find them helpful in like what I was supposed to be getting out of the book. I don't know. I'm just really disappointed by the book in general. I was really excited about this. I think, like I mentioned, because it is women in tech, and I'm super interested in women, you know, climbing tech company ranks, and an interesting tech-centered story, but it just didn't do anything for me. So I'd be very interested to hear other people's thoughts if you've read this book, if you got it from Book of the Month or picked it up otherwise. I've seen some good reviews for it, but I didn't read into them too closely before I read it myself because I didn't want to spoil you know, my own thoughts about the book. But I remember seeing good ratings on Goodreads, so I'm interested to go back and again see what people liked about this book. But unfortunately for me, it's probably a 2-star. Here we go again. It's the, you know, unknown book on my TBR that I picked on a whim because it sounded interesting and then was disappointing. That sucks. But gonna let it go, gonna move right along because I only have one more book for this video. So I am about to start The Maidens. And I believe this book is actually also on Scribd, so I'm really excited. I think I'll plan to listen to the audiobook as much as I can. And I've already seen some pretty good reviews about it, so definitely excited to get into it. Of course, I will be back when I have an update with my thoughts. We'll see if that's halfway through or once I get to the end. I don't really know. What is life right now? It's a little crazy. I don't even know like what I filmed for this video so far and what I haven't filmed, if it's just been me talking or if I have other clips to put in. I don't know. Taking care of this baby has just taken over my life, as it should. But I'm gonna keep on plugging along with my reading, and we'll be back when I have something interesting to say. All right, final update. I have finished The Maidens. Similar story to Imposter Syndrome. I was going to update halfway through and I got to halfway and I realized I didn't really have anything to say. So I figured I would just go ahead and finish it and give final thoughts on the entire book. And again, baby sleeping right there. If you hear some weird snorts or squeaks, that's what it is. But let's talk about The Maidens. So this is a mystery thriller. It's following a woman who gets a call from her niece who is at, it seems like a boarding school. I couldn't really tell if it was like a high school or a college, but it was some sort of school where the niece was living at the school. And our main character gets a call from her niece and she says that one of her friends has been killed. And so our main character goes to the school, one, to make sure that like her niece is okay, and then she also gets kind of wrapped up in this mystery trying to figure out who killed this girl, and some weird things are identified when it comes to like a certain professor at the school and just other things in general. I have to say that this story didn't really intrigue me that much, and to be honest, I was kind of confused why our main character cared so much about the mystery. In my mind, if our main character thought that her niece was in danger, then I would think she would just get her out of there. And if you didn't think that she was actually in danger, I don't know why you would go to such great lengths to solve this mystery that has nothing to do with you. So I was questioning kind of the motive of our main character for the whole book. An interesting aspect of this book is it has to do a lot with, I think, like Greek tragedies is what it was. I don't know anything about Greek myth retellings or tragedies or anything like that, so I am not the authority or the person to really speak on how that was done, but it personally didn't interest me. And so while I can appreciate that that was, you know, unique in a story and it's not something I've read about before in a thriller, it didn't do anything for me in terms of like interest. And then the mystery itself I didn't think was all that surprising or compelling or anything about it. So unfortunately I'm kind of meh about this book. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I actually don't think it was better than The Silent Patient deficient by this author. I think that one was more just surprising and had more actually interesting twists and turns and concepts. This one was just not very exciting to me. I guess I would recommend it specifically if you are into like Greek tragedies or Greek myths, or really are intrigued by like the boarding school professor aspect of it. But with that wraps up this video, and actually pretty interesting that I finished with a 2-star, a 3-star, a 4-star, and a 5-star. Really happy that I did find a 5-star book in one of these videos finally, and overall I'm pretty satisfied with the pretty even spread of ratings I have here, and the different genres and everything. I hope that this is helpful if you are interested in any of these genres or any of these books specifically. Now you have a little bit better of an idea of what to pick up or what to pass on. But that is all I had for this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you are a Book of the Month subscriber and if you think videos like this are helpful in helping you decide, you know, which books to pick from the service, or once you've already gotten your books, which books to pick up out of your collection. I'd love to know if this is helpful, because I know so many people do subscribe to Book of the Month and don't always get to reading their books right away. So I enjoy being able to do that kind of for you, if it helps you at all in making those decisions about which ones are actually worth picking up. But otherwise, thank you for watching in general, and I will see you in my next video.